Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, amongst all of the other distractions this week, you may be forgiven for having missed that it is, in fact, as my colleague Annette King pointed out, it is Social Justice Week. And I think that is an opportunity for us to discuss as a parliament, to debate how far we have progressed or potentially how little progression we have made in that space in recent years. In fact, it is disappointing and should be disappointing to every single member of this House that there has not even been one media report, for instance, that I have seen on the fact that in just a month ago, we saw figures come out that show our child poverty statistics in New Zealand have jumped from 260,000 to 305,000 children. That is a jump of 45,000 children in just a year. That is based on the Ministry of Social Development's own data. And Mr. Speaker, as much as the Minister stood up in question time and tried to claim I was disingenuous for using those figures, they're the figures that even UNICEF have used. And if you analyse, Mr. Speaker, the data going back to 1991, you'll find that that was the last time we saw a jump as significant as this one in terms of child poverty figures. It is hard, of course, to rival the 1991 figures. That was, of course, the time that National produced the black budget, slashed benefits, and now, of course, is crowing about having been the government that is now putting in place a minor boost to benefits of $25 a week. Now, Anne Tolley laughs, but this is the reason, Mr. Speaker, I call it minor. Because Labor introduced the family tax credit, which significantly boosted benefit numbers. That is something that the national government ignores. The second reason that I'm pushing back on that, Minister, is because Labor produced the Best Start policy. It was a benefit that increased by $60 a week per child and went to children on benefits too, Ms. Tolley. That would have made a significant difference. And Ms. Tolley, I'm going to correct you. Labor does not hate the increase you have introduced. We hate that it was disingenuous. We hate that you didn't introduce it right away. We hate that it wasn't per child, and we hate that it was political, Ms. Tolley. Because if you were not political, then why will you not introduce child poverty targets? Why is it that the government can measure unemployment rates, child abuse rates, rheumatic fever rates? It can measure how many people have moved into benefits, off benefits, have moved overseas, come back from overseas. They measure almost everything, but they refuse to accept measurements on child poverty. And why does this continue to be a frustration for the Labor Party? Because what gets measured gets done. Sure, sometimes some of those targets get manipulated. We've seen that when it comes to justice. But what gets measured gets done. And this government will not accept official measures on child poverty. Now, as much as the government argues, and I've heard Anne Tolley use the same argument that Bill English and that Paula Bennett have used all the way through, their argument has been that there are too many measures. Do you know what, Ms. Tolley? We agree. We agree. In fact, internationally, it's been accepted that there are roughly 5. And the Children's Commissioner has agreed there are 5. He even has conducted his own set of measures because we have a lack of them currently accepted by the government. So we have agreed 5 measures. We've even drafted a bill on what it would look like to put them in place so we can finally start targeting child poverty because it matters. The government continues to refuse. And in fact, I tried to remove any questions of numbers today, and I just asked the Minister a simple question. Is poverty too high? What did we get? I can't answer. Minister, I would hope that you, having seen children die because of cold houses in this country, you would have seen children go to school hungry, infectious skin diseases and preventable hospitalisations, that regardless of the politics, you would admit that child poverty is too high. So, Ms. Tolley, if you want something I hate that you cannot even acknowledge that. Oh, that's the biggest criticism.
Mr. Speaker.
Barbara.